There are moments in history that don't feel dramatic while they're happening. No sirens, no breaking glass, just a quiet shift in the air. A number moves. A chart bends the wrong way. And suddenly, millions of people feel something they can't explain yet. Fear. Because when US unemployment quietly climbed to its highest level in 4 years, it wasn't just a statistic. It was a signal. A warning that the ground beneath the economy is no longer solid, that the rules people trusted for decades may not apply anymore, and that whatever comes next won't ask for permission. Not long ago, the story felt comforting. Jobs were everywhere. Now hiring signs sat in every window. Quitting was power. Switching careers felt safe. Missing a paycheck felt temporary. Back then, unemployment below 4% was proof that the system still worked. But today, that same number rising again feels different. Because this time, it's happening while prices stay high, savings are gone, and debt is everywhere. Around 7 million Americans are officially unemployed right now. That's nearly 1 million more than a year ago. Job openings have fallen by over 20% from their peak. And for every open role, more people are fighting for it than at any point since before the pandemic. What once felt like flexibility now feels like exposure, like standing without armour. It's easy to blame individuals. Wrong skills, wrong timing, wrong choices. But this shift isn't personal. It's structural. Interest rates climbed faster than wages ever did. Companies borrowed cheap money for years, then watched the cost of survival double almost overnight. Layoffs didn't start because workers failed. They started because the math stopped working. And when hiring freezes spread, they did it quietly. One department at a time. One contract not renewed. One role left unfilled. Families didn't notice the collapse all at once. They felt it in smaller ways. Fewer hours, longer job searches, more silence after interviews. The kind of silence that stretches bills thin. The kind that keeps people awake at night. And when that silence arrives, it rarely leaves quickly. It lingers like a shadow that doesn't move. For a long time, white-collar work felt protected. Offices, degrees, titles. A sense that knowledge jobs lived above the chaos, but that illusion cracked first. Tech layoffs alone wiped out more than 250,000 jobs across major companies in the last 2 years. Some firms cut 10% of their workforce in a single email. Others did it in waves, slowly enough to normalise the damage. Salaries fell next, new hires earning 20 to 30% less for the same roles. Benefits trimmed, remote work revoked. The same jobs that once symbolised stability now feel disposable. And when even the safest desks start to vanish, it sends a message no one can ignore. If this can happen here, it can happen anywhere. The system didn't just slow down, it tightened. Mortgage rates climbed above 7%, freezing housing mobility. People stopped moving for work because they couldn't afford to sell or buy. Credit card debt crossed $1 trillion for the first time in history. Savings rates fell back near pre-pandemic lows. That means losing a job now doesn't just threaten comfort, it threatens survival. One missed paycheck can cascade into missed rent, missed insurance, missed medication. Communities feel it next. Local restaurants close after lunch, crowds disappear. Daycares shut down when parents pull kids to save money. Small towns hollow out quietly, storefront by storefront. And the loss doesn't announce itself. It just accumulates. What makes this moment heavier is that it doesn't feel temporary. Past recessions came with recovery narratives, bounce-backs, timelines. This one arrives without promises. Automation accelerates while hiring slows. AI replaces tasks faster than new roles are created. Entire job categories shrink instead of cycling. The economy isn't just shedding workers, it's learning how to operate with fewer of them. Productivity rises on paper while households fall behind in real life. And the gap between those two realities keeps widening. People sense it even if they can't name it yet, that something essential is slipping away. And this is only the beginning, because the early numbers never tell the full story. Unemployment rises last, not first. It's the final echo of decisions already made behind closed doors. The layoffs you haven't heard about yet, the budgets quietly cut, the plans already shelved. What looks manageable now often becomes undeniable later. History repeats this pattern every time, and it never feels urgent until it's unavoidable. What's unsettling isn't just that jobs are disappearing. It's that the confidence people built their lives on is disappearing with them. The belief that effort guarantees security, that loyalty is rewarded, that stability returns if you just wait long enough. Those beliefs don't shatter loudly, they fade, and once they're gone, something colder takes their place. For decades, there was a quiet promise baked into the American routine. You show up, you work hard, you stay useful, and the system, while imperfect, would keep you afloat. That promise didn't need to be written down. It was felt in steady schedules, predictable raises, and the confidence to plan a future more than a few months ahead. But now that promise is unraveling in slow motion, and the next layer of the collapse is hitting the people who thought they were insulated by experience. There was a time when being mid-career meant security. You weren't new, you weren't replaceable, you had history, benefits, a resume that spoke for itself. But today, workers over 35 are among the fastest growing group filing new unemployment claims. Many of them haven't updated a resume in a decade. Many assumed layoffs were something that happened to interns, not managers. Yet recent data shows job postings for mid-level roles are down nearly 25% from 2 years ago. At the same time, the average time to find a new job has stretched past 23 weeks, almost 6 months, half a year, without income, without certainty, without momentum. The shift didn't come from laziness or bad planning. It came from a system that quietly changed the rules. Companies flattened hierarchies to cut costs. Middle management became inefficient. Entire layers of experience were removed with spreadsheets and consultant slides. One role absorbed the work of 3. Titles stayed the same. Pay did not. And once those jobs were gone, they didn't come back. They were erased. People who spent years climbing a ladder are now realizing the ladder itself is being dismantled rung by rung. The human cost shows up in small, painful ways. Parents skipping extracurriculars because fees add up too fast. Couples delaying children because health insurance feels fragile. Professionals taking gig work they once looked down on just to stay liquid. Pride quietly swallowed. Identity shaken. Work was never just about money. It was structure, purpose, time. When that disappears, days blur together. Confidence erodes, and anxiety fills the gaps. Then there's the younger generation watching all of this unfold in real time. They were told college was the shield, the guarantee. Do the right thing early and you won't struggle later. But now, recent graduates face unemployment rates nearly double the national average. Entry-level postings are down more than 30% since 2022. Internships vanish. Junior roles demand 5 years of experience. Student loan payments resume while paychecks don't. For many, adulthood doesn't begin with independence. It begins with fear. This isn't a coincidence. It's pressure from every side converging at once. Corporations chase shareholder returns while consumers pull back spending. Governments report strong labour markets using outdated measurements that ignore underemployment and discourage workers. Inflation may have slowed, but prices never came down. Groceries still cost 20 to 30% more than they did just a few years ago. Rent keeps climbing. Healthcare premiums rise quietly every renewal cycle. Losing a job in this environment isn't a setback. It's a shock to the nervous system. And here's the part that makes it worse. Many of these losses are invisible. People aren't always laid off. They're managed out. Hours are cut, contracts end, schedules shift, until quitting feels inevitable. Official unemployment numbers don't capture the exhaustion of working 2 part-time jobs with no benefits. Or the humiliation of applying to dozens of roles and hearing nothing back. Or the way self-worth slowly unravels when effort stops producing results. Communities feel this drag before headlines do. School districts face declining enrolment as families move in with relatives. Local tax revenue shrinks. Public services thin out. Libraries shorten hours. Bus routes disappear. The safety net stretches thinner, thread by thread. And each loss reinforces the next. Less spending means fewer jobs. Fewer jobs mean less spending. A loop that feeds on itself until something breaks. What's frightening is how normalised this has become. Layoffs trend on social media like weather updates. Job insecurity becomes background noise. People trade tips on surviving without benefits as if it's a permanent condition. The shock fades, but the damage accumulates. A society can endure hardship. What it struggles to survive is prolonged uncertainty. The feeling that stability is no longer something you earn, but something you briefly borrow. And the pressure isn't easing. It's moving closer to the core. Industries once considered untouchable are already cracking. Healthcare systems running lean. Universities freezing hires. Government contractors shrinking quietly. Each one thought they'd be last. None of them were. Because when unemployment rises in this kind of economy, it doesn't stop where people expect it to. It keeps spreading outward and upward until even the most familiar symbols of security begin to look fragile. There was one place people believed would always catch them, the last line of defence. The jobs that didn't require resumes polished to perfection or networks built over decades. The work that kept towns alive when everything else left. Manufacturing, warehouses, logistics, physical work tied to real things. For generations, these jobs were the floor. If everything else failed, you could still clock in somewhere and earn a living. That belief held for a long time, until it didn't. Factories used to hum at night. Second and third shifts meant overtime, stability, a sense that if your body showed up, you'd be paid. But now, manufacturing job growth has stalled. New factory orders are down roughly 10% year over year. Temporary shutdowns are becoming permanent. Automation replaces people quietly, one machine at a time. Warehouses that once hired thousands now operate with skeleton crews and algorithms. Even logistics giants have cut tens of thousands of jobs since 2023. The work didn't vanish. The workers did. These were the jobs that supported mortgages, not side hustles. That paid for braces and groceries without credit cards. When they shrink, entire regions feel it immediately. Small cities built around a single employer start to hollow out. Home values stall or fall. Local diners lose regulars. Friday nights go quiet. The unemployment number rises, but what really disappears is rhythm, routine, the sense of forward motion. At the same time, retail, the most visible employer in America, is collapsing in plain sight. More than 7,000 retail stores closed last year alone. Malls once packed on weekends now echo. Big chains file for bankruptcy, while smaller shops don't even make the news when they shut their doors. Retail employment is down hundreds of thousands from its pre-pandemic peak. These were often the fallback jobs, the bridge jobs, the roles people took while figuring out their next move. When those disappear, there's no bridge left, just open air. And then there's housing, the silent amplifier. Housing used to cushion job loss. Sell the house, downsize, move, reset. But now, with mortgage rates more than double what they were a few years ago, that escape route is closed. Home sales are near multi-decade lows. People are trapped in place, unable to move for work, unable to lower expenses. Renters fare worse. Rents climbed faster than wages in most major cities. Losing a job doesn't mean tightening the belt. It means risking eviction. Homelessness rises quietly, then all at once. This is where fear turns into something heavier. Because when work disappears and shelter becomes uncertain, stress stops being abstract. It becomes physical. Marriages strain. Health declines. Emergency rooms see more anxiety-related visits. Prescriptions rise. Hope thins. The system calls it labour market adjustment. Families feel it as a loss. What makes this moment different from past downturns is that trust is breaking alongside income. People no longer believe the recovery will reach them. They've seen rebounds that lift markets, not households. They've watched stock indexes hit records while layoffs continued underneath. That disconnect erodes faith. When belief collapses, participation follows. People stop trying, stop applying, stop imagining futures that feel impossible. They vanish from the statistics, but not from reality. And now we reach the point people don't want to name, the most recognizable symbol of stability in modern America. The job with the benefits packet, the retirement plan, the badge of having made it, government and public sector work. For decades, these roles were the anchor, recession-proof, safe. But even here, cracks are spreading. Budget shortfalls force hiring freezes. Overtime disappears. Contract workers are cut first, then positions left vacant. Schools struggle to retain staff. Cities delay services. When even the safest employer starts pulling back, the message is unmistakable. No one is immune. This is the breaking point. Not because unemployment hit a 4-year high, but because it did so in a country already stretched thin, with no savings, with high debt, with eroded trust. The number itself is just the surface. Beneath it lies a deeper unravelling of confidence, of security, of the idea that tomorrow will be better than today. People aren't just afraid of losing jobs. They're afraid of losing relevance, losing dignity, losing the narrative they were handed and built their lives around. And when millions feel that fear at the same time, something changes. Not suddenly, but permanently. History doesn't always announce its turning points. Sometimes it whispers. Through data releases and quiet layoffs. Through empty parking lots and unanswered applications. Through the look people give each other when they talk about the future and don't quite finish the sentence. Because the terrifying question isn't whether unemployment will rise further. It's what happens when people stop believing it will ever fall again.